Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister 𝐒𝐭𝐲𝐬𝐻 is set to visit China from May 19 to 22. The official visit, announced by the Foreign Office, is at the invitation of Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. During his stay in Beijing, 𝐿 will hold in-depth discussions on the evolving regional situation in South Asia and its implications for peace and stability. Both sides will also review Pakistan-China bilateral relations and exchange views on global developments of mutual interest. The visit is part of the ongoing high-level engagements between the two countries. The visit follows recent military tensions between Pakistan and India. On the night of May 6 and 7, India launched airstrikes in Punjab and Azad Kashmir, killing over 30 civilians. In response, Pakistan downed 5 Indian fighter jets. A series of drone interceptions and airbase strikes followed, and on May 10, U.S. intervention led to a ceasefire. Despite this, India has continued its aggressive stance, while Pakistan has offered dialogue and warned against further escalation. China reaffirmed its support for Pakistan in a meeting with President Asif Ali Zardari on May 5. Meanwhile, Director General of Inter-Services Public Relations, Lieutenant Gen Ahmed Sharif Chaudhry, has said Pakistan will never bow down to Indian hegemony. In interviews with Anadolu Agency and RT Arabic, he emphasized that Pakistan is a serious, peace-seeking nation, not one to be coerced. He accused India of cracking down on Muslims and Sikhs, fueling extremism within its own borders, and sponsoring terrorism in Pakistan. Lieutenant Gen Chaudhry detailed that on May 9, India struck Pakistani air bases and military targets, prompting Operation Bunyanam Marsoos, in which Pakistan responded with missile and airstrikes on Indian military installations. He stressed that not a single civilian target was harmed in Pakistan's response, calling it just and balanced.
And then you saw on the morning of 10th May that we gave the just retribution. That was again very mild, very responsible manner. We only struck at the military targets, not a single civilian infrastructure was targeted. We only struck those places which were part of that ghastly and cowardly attack that was made on the people of Pakistan. So it was a mild response, it was a just response. It was a proportional response.
He asserted that Pakistan's armed forces would continue to protect the country's sovereignty at all costs. In the diplomatic arena, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has announced a high-level delegation to visit key global capitals to expose what he called Indian propaganda. The delegation, led by Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, will visit London, Washington, Paris, and Brussels. Meanwhile, Indian authorities have arrested several people in Haryana, Punjab, and Delhi for alleged links to Pakistan or remarks related to the recent military escalation. Israel has launched extensive ground operations in both northern and southern Gaza, according to the Israeli military, following airstrikes that killed at least 130 Palestinians overnight. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's office stated the talks involved discussions on a truce, hostage deals, and an end to the war in exchange for Hamas leaders' exile and Gaza's demilitarization, terms Hamas has previously rejected. A senior Israeli official confirmed no progress had been made in the negotiations. Over the past week, Israel struck more than 670 Hamas targets in support of Gideon's chariots, a new ground offensive aimed at achieving control over parts of Gaza. The military claimed to have killed dozens of Hamas fighters. Gaza's health ministry reported at least 464 Palestinian deaths in the past week, excluding the 130 killed overnight. Spokesperson Khalil Al-Dakran said entire families were erased from the civil registry due to the bombardment. Since the war began, more than 53,000 people have been killed in Gaza, and nearly all 2.3 million residents displaced, according to local health authorities. Israel has also blocked food, fuel, and medical aid since March. Hospitals in Gaza are overwhelmed. The Indonesian hospital has stopped functioning due to Israeli fire. Shifa Hospital reported 40 dead and dozens wounded overnight. 75% of ambulances are non-functional due to fuel shortages, with officials warning all services may halt within 72 hours. One Israeli airstrike hit a tent camp in Khan Yunis, killing women and children and setting tents ablaze. Meanwhile, reports of Hamas leader Mohammed Sinwar's death remain unconfirmed. Zakaria al-Sinwar, his brother, was critically wounded but survived. Hamas reiterated its demand: all hostages in exchange for a ceasefire, Israeli troop withdrawal, and aid access. According to Reuters, Russia has launched its largest drone attack on Ukraine since the war began, striking multiple cities and destroying homes. The assault killed at least one woman and injured several others, including a child. Ukraine's Air Force reported 273 drones launched by 8 a.m. Sunday, surpassing the previous record set in February. Ukraine's intelligence service also claimed Russia was preparing to fire an intercontinental ballistic missile the same day, in what it believes is an attempt to intimidate the West. Moscow has not responded to the accusation. The drone assault came a day before a scheduled call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss a potential ceasefire. Ukraine and Russia held their first face-to-face talks in over 3 years on Friday, pressured by Trump to end the war. They agreed to exchange 1,000 prisoners each but failed to reach a truce. Ukrainian officials rejected Moscow's terms as unacceptable. President Zelensky met U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Rome on Sunday, alongside the inauguration of Pope Leo. The meeting, described as good, lasted about 40 minutes. Zelensky said Ukraine is ready for real diplomacy and stressed the need for a full, unconditional ceasefire. Zelensky also met Pope Leo at the Vatican. Meanwhile, European leaders from Britain, France, Germany, and Poland plan to speak with Trump ahead of his call with Putin. They visited Kyiv last week, pushing for new sanctions unless Russia agrees to a ceasefire. A separate drone strike on Saturday killed 9 civilians in Ukraine's Sumy region.